This is my fifth such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and they won't do it, no matter what.
President Trump calling out Democrats during his joint address to Congress last night. There were plenty of controversial moments to be seen. Texas Congressman Lance Gooden ripped a "this is not normal" sign out of New Mexico Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury's hands while Trump entered the room. House Speaker Mike Johnson says Democrat Congressman Al Green could be censored for disrupting the address last night. Green was ultimately removed from the chamber after several warnings about speaking over the president while the president was delivering his remarks. Democrats also held protest signs. While many of them dressed in pink, they claimed to support women. Many also refused to stand or clap at any point, even when Trump honored a 13-year-old cancer survivor or the lives of Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungaray. They did not stand. They were both killed by illegal migrants, and yet the Democrats stayed seated. Jocelyn's mother, Alexis, called out the Democrats as well on Fox News last night. Watch.
I found it very cowardly that a lot of the Democrats didn't stand, didn't clap, didn't do anything. They don't stand for anything humane. They don't stand for us as citizens.
Joining me now is Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles. Congressman, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for being here this morning. I mean, what the heck went on in that chamber last night? It's pretty incredible to me that this morning we're talking about, according to a CBS poll, 76% of the people thought that the speech was very positive. 69%, according to a CNN poll, also felt a favorable feeling after President Trump's remarks, and yet the Democrats won't stand for any of these things.
Yeah, I mean, it was an absolute disgrace. I mean, like you mentioned, the president pointed out and honored a young man who survived brain cancer, victims of violent crime, and they didn't even have the decency to stand. There were moments where he was proud of his country, our country, and they didn't stand for that. And so this was an absolute disgrace on the Democratic Party. This is a representative of their lack of leadership, lack of vision, and quite frankly, a lot of the victims that were in the crowd are because of their failed policies. And I think there was a shame component to it as well. But it was a disgrace. Kudos to the president for keeping his cool, his calm. It was an amazing speech. I enjoyed it, as did most of the country.
Well, it's incredible that people could refuse to show support for things like fighting childhood cancer, capturing terrorists, protecting women and girls in sports, and lowering taxes. President Trump highlighted some of the government waste that Elon Musk and the DOJ department have discovered as well. Watch.
We have already identified $22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is.
Michigan Senator Elisa Slotkin blasting DOJ during her response after the president's remarks. Watch.
Is there anyone in America who is comfortable with him and his gang of 20-year-olds using their own computer servers to poke through your tax returns, your health information, and your bank accounts? No oversight, no protections against cyber attack, no guardrails on what they do with your private data.
Florida Senator Rick Scott and House Freedom Caucus Chairman Andy Harris urging Republican leadership to reject Democrat efforts to restrict DOJ in the upcoming government funding deal. Elon Musk will take questions from House Republicans tonight while President Trump meets with the House Freedom Caucus to discuss government funding. Congressman, what are you expecting from all of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very busy day. I'll be with the president later at the White House. But again, some of the spending that the president pointed out was an absolute waste and a disgrace, just like the Democratic Party. And they didn't have an answer for that. And so what do? They jeer, they hold up signs. But that's not representative of offering solutions to the American people. We're barreling towards $37 trillion in debt. That's not sustainable. We've got to be proactive and cut waste. And that's what the president is doing.
And Luke Ball is here this morning with us. Luke, jump in in here?
Hey, Congressman, the historic position of the House Freedom Caucus has been that stopgaps and a lot of continuing resolutions are not good for the country. They have been staunchly opposed to these in the past, but it seems as if the House Freedom Caucus is open to a continuing resolution to get Trump's priorities across the line and a lot of the DOJ efforts across the line. Does this signal a shift in mentality for the caucus, or is this something unique under the Trump administration?
Yeah, I think it's unique under the Trump administration. You have a true leader in the White House. We have a plan that's going to get us and help correct course. It's a big ship. It turns slowly when you talk about the economy. But look, I think we'll have a deal that comes together. I'm on the board of the House Freedom Caucus, and we're working very proactively with the president, with Elon. I talk to both of them on a fairly regular basis. And so as we move forward, I think you're going to see a lot of unity on, again, coming together and finding solutions to fix the problems of the failed Biden policies.
And where do you see the offsets in terms of things to cut?
Well, I mean, that's a long list. As a fiscal hawk in the House, I would slash and burn lots of agencies and departments. Let's start with the Department of Education. But again, we have to build a consensus. That takes time. I know the clock is ticking, but we'll get there.
President Trump also revealed that Ukraine's President Zelensky sent him a letter to restart the talks after their fiery and smackdown in the Oval Office last week. Zelensky calling that meeting regrettable on X, but says he's ready for a peace deal now and will come to the negotiating table as soon as possible. Here's the president last night on that.
The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Meanwhile, Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine, by far.
Congressman, what are you expecting on the Ukraine front and this minerals deal as well?
Yeah, I think we're going to come to a conclusion on the minerals deal. And quite frankly, I think you're going to see an expectation that Europe does more to protect its own homeland as we have more activity in the Pacific. And so we can't be the world's police all the time. And this is an opportunity for Europe to do its part. The United States of America has done more than its fair share in regards to Ukraine. I've voted against the funding for Ukraine. I think we should be securing our border, taking care of our kids and our education system. Not Ukraine's. But that being said, the president is committing to finding peace in the region. I think you see Putin has signaled that he wants peace. And look, it's a meat grinder for the Ukrainians. It's time for the violence to end. I don't know that Zelensky, it'll be interesting to see how much longer he remains in charge. I think if elections were held today, that he would be removed from office. That being said, the president has worked diligently on the minerals deal. And man, the meeting in the White House with Zelensky, it was an absolute just embarrassment for his country, for himself. But he came in like a petulant child, and Trump put him in his place.
All right, we will leave it there, Congressman. It's good to see you this morning, sir. Thank you. Annie Ogles on Capitol Hill.